3, 2, 1, and hello and welcome to what was formerly known as the YQL Real Talk podcast. We're actually going to update the name a little bit, and we're going to call it the Real One podcast because I think we want to make this a little bit broader. We're still going to cover Lethbridge, but I want to cover a little bit more of Alberta at the same time. So hello and welcome to the Real One podcast. Your host, as always, is Kurtis Hawkins. I'm here with Brett Gurr from the Real Estate One team.
Hey, guys.
This is your local news and real estate digest, so you can keep up to date with your local news and economy. Today, we have a couple news articles to go through before we jump into the numbers of what's going on in the Lethbridge market specifically. And the first one, there's a couple crazy ones in here, and we're going to get to a serial killer that was just found. It's not what you think, so stay tuned.
Right.
But the first one I want to talk about was the land use bylaw that just came up in Lethbridge. So the phase 2 land use bylaw is under review right now. So they just sent out a, what's it called?
A survey.
There we go. A survey to see what residents, I don't know why they do this. It's not like they're going to listen to it anyway, but
yeah, that's true. They're just looking for more public feedback on how to use their land use bylaws moving forward, any changes,
Did
things
you do
like
it?
that. I did. Yeah.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, I did do it.
A lot of it was based, there was like a little bit about suites and like what kind of properties would you like to see? Like more commercial in your area or more suites, or like what's missing? It was pretty broad, but it was way more specific about downtown specifically. So
I guess anytime the city reaches out for public feedback is never a bad thing to be a part of that public feedback. So
get your opinion in for sure.
Exactly. You can't really complain about it if you didn't.
Do you remember what the gist of it was and what you were asking for, or do you not want to say?
Well, I don't, obviously with suites are a big factor right now. And obviously with the financial, or not so much, just the issue with less suites being a part of it, just all the housing crisis right now. Obviously, suites are big right now.
Yeah, so
suites are certainly under the scrutiny of the city at this point in time.
So I think the way most realtors think about this is there's a housing shortage right now. The easiest way to make more, and I honestly think that the rental market is probably harder to get into right now over the housing market. Like the rental market is super competitive, even though housing is. So the easiest way to alleviate some of this is to allow more suites to become legal, like easier, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's been that should be a little bit more, obviously safety should be the number one factor when it comes to suites, whether windows or egress, things like that, fire escapes, all sorts of things. But yeah, definitely that should be the primary function of what they're going for.
Yeah. And lots of municipalities are doing this already, like Calgary. I heard Medicine Hat's going to start doing the same thing, maybe Red Deer as well. Yeah. So I'd like to see it to be a lot easier to make a suite legal. Again, make it safe. But it's like, I don't know if you saw Pierre Poilievre or whatever.
Poilievre, exactly.
He just posted a video on like how ridiculous some of the rules are with trucking in Canada. Did you see that?
No, I didn't catch that one.
So he was talking about cross-border, not tariffs, but like barriers that are put up between provinces right now, and how much it's like restricting trade in these provinces, like our provinces. Yeah. So if you're a trucker, right, you have a certain set of rules per province. So it's like you can only drive till sunset in certain types of provinces.
Right.
But then depending on which province, the time that the sunset starts might change.
Definitely, yeah.
So like some that's maybe an hour before sunset, 8 p.m. depending on whatever.
Oh, wow.
So there's like so many of these convoluted rules that each municipality puts into place that totally disrupts everything. Yeah. And to me, if you're just, when he's talking about this, he's like, let's just use common sense and like gets a set of rules across Canada.
Yeah, kind of blanket this
and
so
streamline it. Like, it's
exactly.
ridiculous. So to me with suites, like relating this back, it should be the same thing where it's like, let's just use our heads, streamline this. You have to have safe windows. You have to have fire alarms.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what else you really need. Like,
well, yeah, and the city gets into certain parking spaces per suites, and they have to have corner lots, and they have to have, and
some of that I can kind of understand too.
There's certain aspects of it. You have to have parking to some degree, but do you necessarily need full landscapes of parking? Does everybody need their own stalls? So there's certain parts of it that make complete sense, absolutely. But
I think the parking one's kind of touch and go with me, because I think there should be enough parking.
I agree. Yeah.
Right. Like, like let's say you had a suited house with 4 cars and there's only 2 parking spots.
Yes.
Like, yes, there's street parking, but
yeah,
if everybody did that, obviously it's going to be kind of horrible.
Yeah.
But Lethbridge is already very spread out. Like, I don't think we have much of a parking issue right now. Like,
absolutely.
It's not in BC. Like, if you live downtown, you have to like have your certain parking thing in your car at all times to make sure that you're allowed to park there because you live there. Don't know if you have to pay for that either.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, most suites, I would say, 2 in the front, 2 in the back.
Yeah. There's got to be some parking, and you can't restrict everybody to the street. There certainly has to be some give and take there. So
yeah, Lethbridge is a very drive-first city too, so that makes sense to me. But
yeah,
what I would like to see in general is just streamline it to make it easy, like getting all of these little teeny tiny rules about second furnace, second hot water tank. You don't need second hot water tank.
No, but yeah, the second furnace, second heat source that's a little much.
I've heard they also want to go towards, you have to be able to access the utility room from the exterior. For new builds.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and it's
that
like,
is
what
another
are
thing
we
as
doing?
well.
Like, that just adds to the cost.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's not necessary in my opinion, but obviously I'm sure they have their reasons for it. Maybe there's some sort of reason.
Doesn't mean they're good reasons.
Exactly. I can't see it being a good reason. So, okay.
So all right. Anyway, put your feedback in, because everyone wants to.
Yeah, fill it out. Get in there, fill that out, put your feedback in, because, have a voice anyways.
For sure.
It's not very often the city gives you a voice, so when you have an opportunity, utilize it.
Yep. Second one I want to talk about was Trump tariffs. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. It's definitely huge. Yeah. Obviously, it's a major factor. I do have to chuckle where we stood strong. No, we're going to re-tariff you. And then they come back, and a day later, Trump talks to Trudeau. Oh, okay, well, we'll just do the border like you guys wanted in the beginning. And it's like, we don't have a leg to stand on with that. Like, our overall GDP from imports that come from the US is huge. It's 20% of our overall GDP. Yeah. And yet it's 4% for the US for Canadian imports. So we don't, like, US they don't have a leg to stand. Well, US can definitely absorb that trade war a heck of a lot easier than we can.
Yeah, it's not like it's not going to affect them at all.
Of course, it's going to affect
more,
them.
For
yeah,
sure.
It's definitely a big effect on us.
And if anything, I hope this just like continues the conversation. It opens people's eyes that like Canada could be super competitive in a whole bunch of different industries, including energy. And for the last 10 years, I guess, since Trudeau's been around.
Yeah.
And we really haven't exploited any of our energy or anything. So I don't want to get political on which side is which, but at least for the last 10 years, we've really pushed back on a lot of energy projects. And I hope people now are, oh my God, we sell all of our oil to the US. Geez, that's not really a good thing. Maybe we should talk about this some more.
Absolutely.
Because I think it'll benefit the entire country.
Yeah, with the amount of resources that we have, we do have the ability to be a lot more self-sufficient, but to get those resources to outside markets as well would be absolutely incredible for Canada and just our economy in general, right? And we don't utilize that. US is an incredible trading partner. Obviously, they're right there, the ease of it. So that's great.
We have the ability to be energy superpower.
100%
in the world, and we're just cool.
Definitely.
Just being Canadians, and it's not good, especially when God forbid another war comes up or something. Like, those are stuff that we get to worry about.
Yeah, definitely.
So and it's now no tariffs, but I just did a video on this. I did
it was a great video. Yeah,
I just followed it up with another one, and they're the most viewed videos on my channel right now.
Oh, right.
The video was how Trump tariffs will affect the housing market in Canada. So if you guys haven't seen that, head over to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it was a really good video. Yeah, a lot of great insights you had on that due to the different markets. And
cool to see it take off so quick.
Yeah.
This is my most viewed video in 2 days. And my other most viewed video is 2 years old. So that one had a lot more time to grow.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Finally, there was a serial killer that was just found and lived in Tabor. So
for quite some time. I did hear about this.
So she just passed away.
Right.
And when she passed away, they did her fingerprints. And when they found her fingerprints, there was a wanted thing out for her in the States. Apparently she lived in Tabor since she was 20. No, this is when the first murder happened.
Yeah, I think it was quite some time, like upwards of 40 years or something like that. But
1963, she was convicted, and there was a $25,000 bond issued. It happened in the 40s. When did she move? 2003. Moved to Tabor in 1973. So
right. Yeah. There you go.
For a lot of years.
Yeah. Over 50 years.
The most hilarious thing, just talking about this on the podcast, not that serial murders are hilarious, but it's pretty funny that she went to Tabor and was a real estate agent for like 20
Of course,
years.
Which is one of the main reasons why we had to bring it up, right?
Yeah, which is just wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It must have been before our time because I've never heard of her, but
yeah, no,
that'd be crazy though to be like one looking back in the future or looking back in the past, and you're like, I did like 10 deals with that girl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
or
absolutely.
you sold
she
her
was
house?
Running open houses in my house.
Yeah,
and,
or you sold her house with her, and you like, I don't know, had a bunch of contact with the serial killer.
Yeah, wild. Yeah, that'd be wild looking back. So that's funny. Okay.
Should we get into the numbers?
Yeah. Let's get into the numbers. Obviously, with it being now 2025, we had to kind of go and pull some different averages.
Sorry, I got one more.
Okay.
As of February 10th, if you guys are watching this could most of our I guess following whatever is YouTube basically,
right?
For this podcast, but as of February 10th, it's now going to be on Rogers and Shaw.
Right. Yeah.
So if you have cable with Rogers or Shaw on the Rogers channel on the 10th, which is, what day is that? This should be like a continuous thing too, but I want to say the 10th is a Thursday. No, a Monday. So starting February 10th, I believe it's going to be every Monday at 6:30. This is actually going to be aired live on TV. So you might be watching it now on TV or you might be on YouTube, but you can watch it either way now. If you're watching on YouTube, you're probably just going to keep watching on YouTube, but hello to anybody else listening out there.
It's so darn easy, right?
This will be across Alberta too. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Anyway,
sounds good. Numbers. So yeah, let's get back into the numbers. Again, we had to go and redo some of our averages from last year. So we'll bring those up because there's kind of some big differences between last year's average and the year average before that. So we'll bring those up as well. So getting into homes sold, January saw 133 homes sold, 115 of last year in January. Last year's average was 166, and of course that's 2024. And to bring up 155 was the last year in the 2023 average. So definitely...
Yeah, the January number does not surprise me because I've had the busiest January.
Me too. Yeah, likewise, me too. My January has just been insane.
I feel like I'm just as busy in January as I usually am over the summer when it's like peak season.
Yeah, and you talk to brokers, other agents, it seems to be a trend.
Yeah.
The weather was really nice throughout, not now. It's cold and nasty outside, but the weather was keeping people going, and just in general, the market.
I think the weather had a lot to do with it. And now that it's minus 20 today for the next week, it'll probably slow things down.
Well, and interest rates dropping as well definitely keeps people thinking, even though it's not necessarily affecting the fixed rates just yet, but there's talk of with the Trump tariffs and the bond yields now being not as strong as they were before, and trade war potentials. There's now potential talk of them lowering fixed rates, and so we'll see how that goes.
I just had lunch with Dylan Kelly, and he said his new best rate, like with actually a good product and everything. Yeah, he said he got his 3.99.
No kidding, eh? We're finally cracking that 4. Well, that's good. Awesome. Yeah, it's good to see it back down there. Okay, average days on market. We've got 62 for January. 78 was the last January. 52 was last year average, and same 52 was last year average for 2023 as well. So no real surprises there. What we continually talk about not a whole lot of inventory, less and less as we seem to be going along. Active homes on market.
Speaking of inventory.
Yeah, 267 in January, 306 last January, and 334 was last year average. 426 was the 2023 average.
And
so
last year at this time, we were probably complaining that how was there only 300 houses on the market?
Yeah,
now there's even less.
Definitely. Or
so very tight out there. And I'd say my January was busy, but it was also like one of the toughest markets for buyers.
It's
like almost all the deals I did were listings. And then the people who had the listings were also having to buy something. So every time we did an offer, it was sale of buyer's home condition every time.
Yeah.
And it gets tough because then I had two that got beat out by, like, we put an offer on a house that already had an offer conditional on someone else's home selling.
Right.
We put the offer in. So now they have 72 hours to remove all their conditions. Otherwise we get the deal.
Mm-hmm.
We offered on two. And by the time somebody like put their house in the market, they got an offer cash and could remove those conditions without us snagging the deal.
Wow.
Which is very unusual.
Yeah.
Most of the time when you put that in, they have to sell first. It's going to you, and they usually have some time, but
definitely
it happened to me twice.
Yeah. Well, and that's rolling the dice on those listings as well too. When somebody does have that offer going in on the next place with the condition of their home selling, a lot of the time we can look at our clients and go, yeah, well, we'll get it gone in a day or two or three. Yep. It's as long as we price it accordingly, it'll go quick. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, but I've been in some situations where there's a train of buyer's home sale conditions.
Yep.
And if one gets lifted, boom, 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 two or three deals go through, or four or five even.
It's definitely more common when it is a tight market. So I had one go final in January. There was 5 deals attached to it.
Right.
So
yeah.
The first guy, I want to buy your home, but I have to sell mine first. And this guy says, okay, well, I got an offer in, but mine has to sell. And then that guy says, I'm buying one, but I have to sell. And that's how the chain starts. It's
exactly.
horrible.
When it all goes good, you're laughing. But when somebody's stuck in the middle and they have absolutely no effect on what else is happening up the chain,
I only had
tough.
Right. So I had the listing and then a buy attached to it. So I wanted those to go through for the client, but I'm not in control of the other.
No, you're not.
Down the line,
you're just along for the ride. And that's the hardest part to relay to your buyer. Or seller. You're just sitting there crossing your fingers, hoping for the best. Right. Yep. So it's difficult. Okay. The next number, staggering. Average home price. We hit $418,542 for our January average home price. So that is
another all-time high.
By a lot. I think our next all-time high was 409.
Yeah.
Previous to this, of course, this is residential properties within the city of Lethbridge. 418,542.
All properties, right?
Yes. Yeah. Apartments, anything residential, mobile. Actually, mobiles aren't in there. Yeah. Mobiles aren't included in that. So
anything freehold.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Anything freehold. So that's wild to see that number climb. So
no one's surprised.
No.
I only say that because inventory is low, and
exactly
when it's that low, then there's nothing out there. Like
definitely.
I think I had 4 listings last week. 4, I think. I want to say, and all 4 had an accepted offer within 3 days, and I think half of them competing.
Yeah,
and backup offers after that.
Definitely. Yeah, there's not much out there. Absolutely. So when you do get those listings and when they go up, they go quick. Absolutely. And from that 418,542 last year, this time was 365,279. So that's a major increase. Last year, 2024 average was 384,461. And then,
well, here's something scary.
Right. More?
Yeah. So if you're looking at January of last year, 365, that was probably our lowest average throughout
Right.
the year. It usually is because it's slower. Not a lot's moving.
Yeah.
Usually have some time to negotiate some more. So January is usually our lowest time or lowest
Very true.
Average for home sale price. If this stays true and 418 is the lowest, like we could be in trouble over the summer.
Yeah. Well, typically more houses come on the market in the spring. So that does kind of soften the blow. Maybe those new renewal processes with people renewing at higher rates this summer might have some effect on that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If this trend continues, this could get ugly, right?
Well, another reason why, again, prices are going up. I did a year in review video a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And I looked at how many actual transactions went through in the whole year in 2023 versus 2024.
Okay.
So there was more sales, like transactions done, sales in 2024 than there was in 2023, but there was less listings in 2024 than there was in 2023.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So almost like the terminations or withdrawals off the market, people taking their home off the market was way lower. And still like less listings, more transactions happening.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense.
No, that's wild.
But that again, just drives up that average home price.
It sure does. Another point to bring home is our 2023 average was $343,135. So from 2023 to
$40,000.
Of course, it's not a yearly average, but still, we're up.
No, that's a yearly average.
Well, yes, but not to the 418, right? So the 418 is just the month of January, but from 343 to 365, that's the yearly average.
Yeah, that's like
384. Yeah,
$40,000.
Yeah, exactly. So that's up a lot.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild.
So yeah, if you're sitting in your home, you bought it within at least 12 months ago, you probably made $40,000.
Yeah. Well, and of course, people are complaining about their tax assessments coming in from the city too, which is a whole nother ball of wax.
We don't have time for that today.
We do not. But the reality of it is well, your home probably has gone up significantly.
It has.
So, unfortunately, we were hoping nobody told the city, but yeah, they know, right? So yeah, exactly. Okay, and average list to sale percentage, 98.6 was January, 97.8 January of the year before, 98.6 was the average last year, and then average in 2023 was 98.4. So
this is the percentage that you can expect to get if you list your home. So if you list your home for $100,000, you can expect to get 98,600.
Right.
Right, 98.6% of ask price, and every year, every month, it seems to get tighter and tighter. And again, in January, we usually see this soften a little bit and go down maybe 96, like last year, 97.8.
Yeah,
and it's still super freaking tight.
Yeah, it's very high.
We'll see. I don't think there's been a month yet where we've hit over 100, but we've been pretty close.
No, we haven't. We haven't seen that anyways.
Which would mean every single house is going over ask, basically, or more than 50% of houses are going over ask.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
Unusual. But if this is the lowest that we'll see this year, I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to see more listings on the market, like I've talked about before. But every time I talk to a lawyer or a mortgage broker, they're saying all they're doing is refinancing.
Right.
Everyone's refinancing.
Definitely. Yeah, that is what a lot of people are doing.
If you refinance, that means you're just staying in your house and you're not moving. And that's just contributing to more lack of inventory.
Yep, it sure is.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. You got nothing else?
Yeah, I got nothing else.
Okay.
I guess, we could go over just overall, but I think we kind of have, I think.
And just to sum everything up, I guess, I think if you're in the boat where you're thinking about listing this year, I feel like a broken record because we're always like, man, inventory's so low. Like, this is a great time, but it just keeps getting tighter.
Yeah.
So your listings are likely to go pretty quick. You're going to get top dollar, very close to ask price, if not over right now. And if you're buying, it's pretty tough.
It's a tough market.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
And that's what most people are like. Most people I find don't want to list right now, but you pretty much have to. And then you can protect yourself with like a sale buyer's home.
Right.
Or a seller's condition that you have to go find your next one.
Yes.
That's pretty much what we have to do right now, because if you don't, like, if you find the perfect house that's out there and you're like, hey, let's put an offer and we'll get it listed in 2 days. Well, it could be gone by then.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't do it that way. You gotta list, and you gotta roll the dice, and you gotta protect yourself with that seller's condition, and then the crunch is on to find something.
Never have to sell, even if you get a great offer.
Not as long as
not going to make you homeless.
Exactly.
No, it's just very true. You have to do to move forward. So.
Yeah. And it's a great time to upgrade right now, because there's lots of that $600,000, $700,000 price range is not moving too quick. So if you ever want to upgrade, then
quicker than usual, but you still have a little bit more.
There isn't a whole lot. I got some buyers looking in the 600 to 800 range, and there's not a lot.
No.
But it is that time of the year where typically those listings are not on the market right now. So come spring, there'll be more of those. But overall, it's a great time to upgrade, because there's insane demand for your $350,000 or $400,000 house right now. So
if anybody has a 3 to 50 or three, I don't know, any listing right now, but especially in that like 300 to 450 range. Down below, there's a link so you can get a free home evaluation online. Those houses are going to scream off the shelves for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. And I got one coming up this week that is in that 330 range, and it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be some serious fireworks on it. So cool.
Yeah. Thank you guys again for tuning in to this month's monthly market update. If you guys have any questions, comments, what do you guys think about doing this year with your home? Leave us a comment down below. If you guys like this video and want to see more, there's a whole playlist right here. If you're watching on TV, it's not going to be there, but on YouTube, there's a whole playlist right here. And if you guys like this and want to see more, you can hit the subscribe button right here, or find me on Kurtis Hawkins Realtor on YouTube, or take a look at Brett Gurr as well. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Okay, thanks guys.
See you in the next one. Bye.
Yeah.